Welcome Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. Our face gives us valuable clues to our inner emotions and motivations. Who here has ever wanted to be a mind reader? So, guess what? Your face gives you the clues, but most people don't notice. Most people don't notice the fleeting expressions, the tiny facial movements that you make, and the involuntary expressions that you show, which reveal your innermost thoughts and emotions. Charles Darwin said, "I have no great quickness of apprehension or wit. My power to follow a long and purely abstract train of thought is very limited. But I am superior to the common run of men in noticing things which are easily escape attention and observe them in careful detail." In 1872, Charles Darwin produced a book called The Expression of the Emotions of Man and Animals. Now, it became an instant bestseller, and this is probably because by the time he was quite famous for The Origin of Species, and the year before he produced a book called The Descent of Man. But this book, which is possibly the first book of psychology, it's the first scientific study of human behavior, met with quite a lot of controversy. One of the reasons why was because he included animals with emotions. Was he guilty of anthropomorphism, which I know Simon knows the meaning of, which literally means putting human emotions on animals, animal behavior, or do animals have emotions? This subject is actually quite controversial still. Darwin's got a few more people on his side than he had 100 in 1872. The other thing that was very controversial and quite radical for the time was that he believed that expressions were innate. They were part of human nature. He believed in the universality of man, that we were all connected. Now that was quite radical. So for almost a century, this book was largely ignored. So let's fast forward 100 years to someone called Paul Ekman. He was interested in studying the face. He was interested, was Darwin right? Were expressions innate? Were they natural? Were they universal? Or was the conventional thinking of the time right that expressions were a subject of a cultural, determined culturally, that they were learnt behaviours, so part of the nurtured, were we nurtured or was it nature? He didn't know. So we went around the world to find out. And he took, and I hasten to add, these are not the original photographs, he took a group of photographs of expressions such as disgust, contempt, anger, happiness, sadness, and he showed people. And he went to Japan, he went to Argentina, Brazil, and into the jungles and forests, and guess what? Everybody universally agreed what those emotions were. Darwin was right. When he came back, he thought, I need to study this further, I need to unpack the face. So he got together with somebody called Wallace Friesen, and they looked at all the muscles in your face that you pull to make expressions, and unpacked the face. They looked at 5 major muscles and did different combinations of them, and they came up with 10,000 combinations. Now, they sat there and logged them. It took them 7 years and a lot of pain. Because when they couldn't voluntarily move a muscle, they went and had an injection and had the muscle electrically stimulate the muscle. After 7 years and a lot of work, they realized that a lot of the 10,000 combinations were completely nonsensical, but they came up with 3,000 recognized expressions, and that they called it the facial action coding system. Now something else that was interesting came up. They realized when they made an expression, so they made an angry face, they actually felt the emotion. So not only do your faces show the expression, or expressions show your emotion, but by reenacting the expression, you can recreate the emotion. And this has been backed up by further research. In Germany, they did some research. They took two groups of people. The first group of people, they gave a pencil and they had to hold it between the teeth. The second group of people, they gave a pencil and they had to hold it in the lips. And they showed them a bunch of cartoons. Guess which group found the cartoons significantly more funny? Yes. Now you may be wondering, what has any of this got to do with Shrek? Okay, now the FACS system, or the facial action coding system, has been useful to law enforcement officers, for customs, for psychologists, marriage guidance. But another group of people who found it incredibly useful are computer animators. And you've got computer animators who work for Pixar, which is famous for Toy Story, and for DreamWorks, which is famous for Shrek, who use Ekman's facial action coding system to generate the cartoons. So if you've ever wondered why cartoons have suddenly got so good, and you wondered how you can relate to Shrek, that's because you're actually reading human emotion in the cartoons. So the next time you find yourself relating to a cartoon, think of two people who use incredible attention to detail, led us to having great cartoons, and that is Darwin and Ekman.